What's going on, my friend? I'm Daniel with The Balance, and this is how to properly use cannabis for spiritual growth. The 3 keys that will make all the difference. So, cannabis, it's spreading around the US, becoming legal in more places. Tons of people are getting their hands on it. However, most people don't understand how to properly use it or have any idea of its potential as a spiritual ally. So that's about to change for you. First thing, most people, maybe they use it recreationally, maybe they even use it as an escape. However, it's a super powerful spiritual ally when used properly. So I'm going to teach you how to use it properly right now. The first key is your intention. Our intention is super important in life, and it's extra magnified when we're working with entheogens. It's a fancy new word for psychedelic, meaning, I think it actually means bringing forth the divine within. So cannabis is an entheogen, and it really magnifies our intention. So we got to treat this as a sacred process in order to get the best results. That really starts with the intention. So I've been working spiritually with cannabis for several years, and for me, always the first thing, I treat my intention with divine importance. So here's some of my tips. I always start out, these are a couple ground rules. I always start out with my intention is to deeply connect with my true self, my higher self, my most authentic self. And I even go on to say, with my I am self. That means the part of me that is just part of the fabric of the universe. And I guess we're just part of the fabric of the universe right now as well, though. But then I also add, my intention is to be deeply rooted and grounded in unconditional self-acceptance and self-love. So what I've done is I've called on the true parts of myself. We're going beyond the ego, which is our body, our mind, the parts of us that are temporary, that come with the body, which our soul is inhabiting, or our soul is animating. So I'm calling upon the divine parts of myself. My intention is to deeply connect with my true self, my higher self, my most authentic self. And this intention just gets super magnified. So this is a huge start. This is going to really pay off. Then I say, my intention is to be deeply rooted and grounded in unconditional self-acceptance and self-love. And this is like a force field against having a bad experience. Obviously, paranoia, anxiety, these kind of things can come up. And I'm going to talk about that more. However, this is a first step, just being okay, no matter where I'm at in my spiritual self-development journey, right now I'm setting the intention that I am unconditionally rooted and grounded in self-acceptance and self-love. So this is the intention goes beyond your conscious mind. This goes into the subconscious. It's magnified by the cannabis. So these are 2 really powerful intentions. And then aside from those, just set your intention for the evening. So if I'm going to be making music, I set my intention is to first receive inspiration. I'm always setting the intention to connect with my intuition and receive guidance in the highest and best ways to approach the next steps in my life and my journey. And just getting this thing out of the screen. And another one. Okay. I'm on a roll, so I'm just going to keep going. So the highest and best ways to move forward on my journey. And I ask for guidance from my higher self I asked to receive revelations and downloads about the best next steps on my path in ways that I can just quantum leap the approach that I'm taking in my life. And you will be amazed. From our sober state going into this, we may be skeptical and be like, yeah, that's pretty ambitious intention. And I feel you, but I set those ambitious intentions because I know that they come true. This cannabis is powerful when we treat it with respect and we treat it as sacred. So set these intentions to receive these revelations and downloads, and you will be amazed what your higher self delivers to you. Maybe it'll just be in a knowing. That's how I think that's what I think of as a download. When you just receive this information, it's like a revelation. You're like, oh my God, this is a game changer. And when you receive these revelations, it's super important to write them down, or I'd like to just voice memo my revelations, because these ideas are sacred and divine, and they are as incredible as they seem at the time. It's actually harder to convince our conscious minds, our normal conscious minds, that the ideas are as amazing as they actually are. But there's some great philosopher, maybe I'll put his name in or something, but he wrote this article in which he talks about the cannabis state and how the ideas actually are revelations as they appear to be when we're in the state. However, it's super important to write them down and actually act upon them. And if we don't make any effort to write them down, we'll probably forget them. So these ideas are sacred, capture them. It's like we're fishing out in the clouds, and once we get a great gem, we got to capture it. Okay, so that pretty much covers the intentions. The second key is, okay, cannabis brings up what's under the surface. Cannabis connects us with our subconscious. I like to think of our mind, our conscious mind, as having like a lot of security cameras. So we only have this very limited range of our mind that we have access to. You know, they say the conscious mind is like 10% of our mind. It's the tip of the iceberg. So what cannabis does is it allows us to go into our subconscious and to have access to much more information and memories and just knowing, because it also is connecting us with our higher self. So that's where the spiritual aspect really comes into play. So we gain a lot more access within our minds, and it's bringing up what's under the surface. And when we're just in our normal consciousness, things are under the surface, things can be bothering us, but we don't really get it. We just feel anxious, we might feel sad, we might feel kind of angry, but we don't really know what's going on. We just feel irritated, unfulfilled, just like something's off, but we're just so used to it that we don't know what's going on. And we just kind of ignore it, and it becomes the norm. So when we smoke cannabis or use it however, it's going to bring up things that are under the surface. And sometimes when we're using it in a sacred way like this, we have to work through some of this stuff before we can really experience the blissful creativity and joy and things that are also possible with cannabis. But know this, when it brings up these things under the surface that can be really uncomfortable, it's okay. In fact, it's a really good thing when we approach it with the proper mindset. And that is knowing that it's okay, that it's a powerful part of the process for deeply healing this stuff. When this stuff is just under the surface, we can't even get to it. In order to really break through in our lives, we have to heal this deep stuff. So cannabis is so powerful in that it can bring this stuff up to the surface It's gonna feel uncomfortable, but it's okay, because by just being with it and accepting it, we are like giving this desperately needed nourishment and love and acceptance to this wounded child part of ourselves that's just been hurt and then repressed because it didn't feel safe to express itself. We learned that it wasn't safe to express ourselves, so we repressed certain things, and our mind learned that it's more safe to feel pain than it is to express anger and other things like this. So it's bringing up these uncomfortable, repressed emotions. And what we're going to do when we treat this in a sacred way is that's going to come up. By the way, we're like, just take this into like a meditation at first. To let this stuff come up, we're going to do something that's called the peace process. You can look this up by my mentor, Dr. Aziz. His website, notnicebook.com, has this super powerful process, the peace process, which is super healing. I'm just going to tell you a version of it right now. You can look that up if you want. But when these things come up, we're actually just going to feel them and accept ourselves and radiate this unconditional acceptance into this discomfort. And we're actually going to get out of our mind, which is probably going to be freaked out and like spinning right now, and just go into our body and just radiate that love and self-acceptance. And by just feeling, actually feel to heal. We got to feel this stuff in order to truly heal it. So we're going to go in and feel this stuff that, like, holy shit, I've been feeling anxious, but I didn't know the fuck was actually under the surface. This is really uncomfortable, and sometimes it'll lead to tears, and tears are actually amazing. I'm an advocate for crying because crying is one of the most healing things. Our country is so malnourished in grief. Grief is like totally tucked under the rug in our society, and grief is actually super powerful for healing. However, it's like so discouraged and like, don't cry, all this blah blah blah, just hide death and pretend all these tragic things never happen, and like, don't cry, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, we're taking our grief into our own hands. Crying is sacred. Crying is self-love, self-nurturing, self-care at a deep level. We don't have to do it around people because not most people get this yet. However, when we give ourselves the space to cry, that is deeply healing. We are clearing those blocks as we emit these repressed emotions. We cannot function properly. Most people are not functioning properly when we have these blocked things within us. There are all these blocks that come from repressed emotions, which emotions are energy. And energy is supposed to just be moved through the body. We get angry, we express it. We get sad, we express it. That's how it's supposed to be. However, in our society, that's completely unacceptable. So we all learn through societal conditioning that it's not safe to express our emotions, and we repress the fuck out of them. So now we're undoing that, and cannabis brings these up to the surface so we can actually deal with them. And when we treat this as sacred, we can deeply heal this stuff that is blocking us in our lives from breaking through. We are breaking through. We are doing deep healing. So this stuff is going to come up to the surface. We're going to go in and feel this stuff. The emotions don't have to make sense. We just feel them. Just go into the emotion, go into the feeling, get out of your mind and into your body and feel this stuff. Feel this stuff. And that, we just sit with it and allow it to be as we feel it. Go into the heart of the place where you feel it the most in your body and just be there. This is going to be sort of a deep meditation state. and a super powerfully life-changing healing experience. That is a practice. However, this kind of deep healing is very impactful. So we're going to go in and do this deep healing work, really feel it. This is a super impactful first part of working with cannabis. My third key for using cannabis as a spiritual ally, for using cannabis for spiritual awakening and spiritual growth is, checking my notes briefly, cannabis connects us with a deeper reality that you really have to experience to understand. It goes deeper than the surface level we are used to. It goes much deeper. The divine is real. Cosmic is real. The universe is fucking crazy. The universe is so next level. Every single book that's ever been written, every movie, all the crazy stuff that's ever been thought of, real life is so much crazier than that. We are living in the most epic story of all time. We've been kind of born into this matrix that wants us to think that we're just these little disconnected beings going through this boring routine life. It is so unlike that. And right now there's global awakening where people are realizing who and what we really are. We are divine beings. And as you start to use cannabis for spiritual growth in a sacred way, you will come to understand what I mean and start tapping into this deeper reality. So when we're using cannabis, we're going to be really bringing online our intuition, and it's really powerful for getting in touch with our intuition. So 2 things that I really suggest doing are, 1, go on an intuition journey. I love using YouTube for this because when you set these powerful intentions, there's some kind of breakthrough you want to make in your life. You need information. There's stuff you don't know that you don't even know you don't know, and you need to find some stuff out that's going to lead to your breakthrough. Cannabis can totally guide you on this journey. So what I suggest is, after doing some healing work like we talked about before, just get on your computer, pull up YouTube, look up the first thing that comes to mind and really resonates as like, okay, this might be the start of my trail. And then click on the video. When you are in this state and seeking something with intention, it's going to come to you. You're going to find it. Watch one of the videos. It's going to be like, oh my God, revelations are sparking right now. You see a video in the suggested. You go there. Oh my God, this is life-changing. Go on this journey. Write stuff down. You're tapping into the cloud. You're tapping into the divine. You're getting this big picture. You are getting these downloads, this big picture perspective. You're temporarily not in the normal, surface level reality. You've gone up here and you're collecting information and downloads at a higher level. So record this stuff, make sure you remember it, and then when you come down back into your conscious the next day or whenever, then you implement what you discovered. That's super important. We got to integrate our experience by actually applying what we discover. And trust me, when you go on this journey, you are going to find breakthrough things. You're going to have breakthroughs. You're going to receive revelations. When we treat cannabis as sacred, it will bless us. It will work. Cannabis works. Cannabis is a spiritual ally. Okay, so to recap, intention is super important. We're going to treat our intention as sacred, and we're going to protect ourselves with our intention to be on our own side no matter what, rooted and grounded in unconditional acceptance and love, deeply connected with our true self, higher self, most authentic self, and then set the rest of whatever your intention for your experience is. It's going to lead to the potential of sparking uncomfortable feelings, which is bringing up to the surface what is going on underneath. Oh, divine text I just received. And so we can treat it more powerfully for direct healing to that part that really needs our attention, our focus. What we focus on grows. That is so important. And when we're tapping into this deeper reality and we start seeing like, oh, like there's a deeper reality that's even more real than what's going on this surface reality. People, societies for thousands of years have used cannabis spiritually. Spiritual practitioners in Buddhism, Hinduism, Sufism, Taoism have used cannabis for thousands of years. It's legit, and we've used it through history. It was even used in America up until the 1930s when there was this massive drug ban. They clamped down on all this stuff. So, the final thing is the intuition journey. Tapping in, following our intuition, going on an intuition journey, trusting that we're going to receive these breakthroughs and fulfill our intention. Okay, well, this has been my first YouTube video, and if you have watched this whole thing, thank you so much. It's been an honor to share this knowledge with you. I'm going to keep refining. I have so much I want to share. My intention is to empower people to have spiritual awakening and just to live our most powerful, epic, amazing lives possible and create liberation and joy and success and abundance for ourselves so that we can go from there and pass it on to the collective, because we are actually so connected. All of humanity is connected. We're connected to the planet. We're connected to the entire universe. We are the universe. And right now there's a mass awakening where people are starting to realize, whoa, we're all a reflection of each other. The way we treat each other is the way we are treating ourselves. Even everything in the universe, everything on the planet is the universe. The way we treat animals is the way we're treating ourselves. The way we even treat inanimate objects is the way we're treating ourselves at a deeper level. And kindness is the key, my friend. Kindness and lifting things up. We're at the end of an age of separation and cutting each other down so that we're taller. Fuck that. Now it's about lifting ourselves up and lifting each other up. We are moving into a new age of love and thriving as a global community. This is my first video. I will keep refining. I'm passionate about spiritual cannabis use, about other entheogens, because I know how powerful they are for tapping into this deeper reality, for spiritual awakening. And I'm super passionate about other self-growth topics and just how we can all rise up and thrive and revolutionize, evolve humanity. Seriously, we are here right now for a super important reason. If you're familiar with the term light workers, if you are watching this to this point, you are a light worker. We are here, literally incarnated on the planet at this time to change the world, to evolve humanity. So, please try this out. Please treat this as sacred and report your experience in the comments. Feel free to hit me up. Let me know how it went. Ask any questions. Follow me on Instagram, because seriously, 2019, it is going down this year. So many of us, including you and I, are changing our lives forever, creating our fifth dimensional, I'll cover the fifth dimension in a new video, creating our fifth dimensional abundant lifestyles. We're not working 9-to-5 jobs. If we are, we're moving out of that. We're creating lifestyles. We're going to be we are among the new rich. We're waking up, we're going lucid in this dream of life and realizing it's ours to create. We're speaking abundance and life into existence. This is a powerful movement that we are a part of. We are a key part of. So if you're with me at this point, I'm kind of blown away because we're 25 minutes in. It's my first video. Didn't expect to go nearly this long. Like I said, I'm going to keep refining and I'm going to keep posting these videos because I have to, and totally flow this. Give me a few minutes. Okay. As you could hear, that was my mom. Well, anyways, about to wrap this up. So, thank you so much for watching. Let me know how your experience goes. Best of luck, and I will see you again soon. Thank you so much. Have an incredible day. Later. By the way, that Instagram is Daniel with the Balance. Check me out on Spotify too. It's going down this year. Let's link up. Let's change the world.